From web and mobile development right through to front-end, back-end, data, and even AI development, AI-assisted coding, also widely known as vibe coding, is really gaining a lot of attention. The significant rise of low-code and no-code tools is fundamentally and completely changing the way software is being developed today. While some development still truly requires careful step-by-step design, it is also true that many areas can now replace existing methods. This transformation is gaining considerable notice due to the shortage of developers and the rising demand for software within businesses. In today's video, we'll be focusing on examples of what's called vibe coding. Using recent AI coding tools like Cursor AI, we'll examine just how these technologies function, the technical foundations that they're built upon, and the speed at which they are being adopted. Additionally, we'll also explore the very latest developments in low-code and no-code platforms. Let's take a look at how developers are responding to these changes. Vibe coding, a concept introduced in early 2025 by AI expert Andrej Karpathy, known for his contributions at Tesla and OpenAI, can be described as a novel approach to coding where you use verbal commands to instruct the AI in program creation. So, unlike traditional, very strict syntax-based coding, developers can actually give just general requirements or modifications using natural language, and then the AI understands the vibe and handles the rest of the implementation. For instance, if a developer simply tells the AI coding tool to fix this particular bug, or perhaps to add a nickname field, or even just to reduce the sidebar margin, the AI model is able to understand and then generate or modify the relevant code accordingly. It's more about developers roughly outlining their desired goals or the direction of changes they want to see and then leaving the specific and detailed code implementation entirely to the AI. Karpathy calls this approach coding, where you simply forget the code's premise entirely and just go with the flow, stressing that the improvements in large language models, or LLMs, have actually enabled this kind of innovation. Ultimately, the foundation of this vibe coding lies in large language models like GPT-4, LLaMA, Claude, and DeepSeek. These models are trained on vast code and natural language data, allowing them to convert natural language instructions into code in a programming context. It's quite similar to a very highly advanced form of auto-completion, where the user simply states the desired feature or perhaps a modification, and then the model predicts and writes the appropriate code for them. Modern AI coding tools are capable of not only generating code, but also understanding the code and assisting when bugs arise, you see. For instance, if a developer were to copy an error message and then provide it to the AI assistant, it could potentially explain the meaning of that particular error and even propose a suitable code modification to resolve the issue. When I consider the senior developers who stayed up through the night, eyes bloodshot, trying to locate those truly challenging bugs that resulted from accessing unallocated memory or memory leaks, I can truly appreciate just how significantly AI-based development has enhanced productivity in the present day. So, vibe coding operates like this. Natural language prompts replace traditional coding syntax, functioning like pair programming with a skilled assistant. The human states the intention, and the AI takes care of the specific implementation details. Cursor AI, a leading example of the vibe coding trend, is an AI code editor that realizes this AI coding approach. Cursor is developed based on the existing idea of VS Code, with the key feature being an integrated AI assistant within the editor itself. Users can converse with Cursor in its editor just like ChatGPT, requesting it to generate or modify code, and Cursor analyzes the entire code base to a certain extent, providing responses that understand the project's context. For example, if you ask it to refactor this function, it will extract the part into a function and modify the entire code accordingly. Specifically, Cursor offers modes such as Chat Edit and Agent, enabling it to generate code directly or manage extensive modifications across numerous files, reflecting user intent in multiple ways. Owing to this really smooth conversational user experience, Cursor has been attracting developer attention since its launch, showing explosive growth in just over a year. By April of 2024, its yearly revenue was approximately $4 million, but in only 6 months, it grew to $4 million each month, annualizing at $48 million, and by the end of 2024, it obtained $100 million in investment, valuing the enterprise at $2.6 billion. An increase in company value by 6.5 times in just a few months shows the high demand and expectations for Cursor in the market. By early 2025, there were even talks of a $10 billion valuation for the company, as Cursor's annual recurring revenue had already surpassed $100 million, making it one of the fastest growing SaaS companies in the world within a year. These AI coding assistant technologies are rapidly spreading in the development field. GitHub's AI auto-completion tool, Copilot, which appeared in 2021, was used by hundreds of thousands of developers in a short time, and by 2023, there were surveys indicating that over 50% of developers worldwide had adopted some form of AI coding assistance. In Stack Overflow's 2023 developer survey, 55% of developers reported a preference for using Copilot, and more than 50,000 companies globally are already leveraging this technology in their operations. Developers who received AI coding assistance reported a significant boost in productivity, with internal data showing that the speed of completing certain tasks increased by an average of 55% after adopting Copilot. Essentially, about half of the code is now being written by AI, and Microsoft's 2023 report indicated that around 40% of developers who adopted Copilot spent more time reviewing and integrating AI-generated code instead of writing it themselves. Naturally, there are current limitations and challenges that still exist. The quality and accuracy of AI-generated code are not always entirely satisfactory, so developers still find it necessary to review and modify it. In fact, one experienced developer who attempted a small project using Cursor reported that their development speed in the code generation stage increased by roughly 50%, but the other 50% still necessitated human effort for refactoring and refining the code. In addition, there's some skepticism regarding claims that AI will replace all coding within a year, with some viewing it as closer to exaggerated marketing. Indeed, one executive at the company Anthropic suggested that no one would be doing any manual coding within a year, which actually caused quite a bit of controversy in the developer community. Meanwhile, we can't ignore the rapid growth of low-code, no-code tech as another big trend in the development ecosystem. Low-code and no-code refer to specific platforms and tools that allow for creating applications with very little or even no coding at all. Low-code replaces some of the developers' coding with visual components or automated code generation, requiring minimal coding only for necessary parts, while no-code allows app development through drag-and-drop settings on a user interface without knowing programming syntax at all, as you can imagine. The common goal of these technologies is to maximize development productivity and expand participation by non-experts, essentially democratizing development. The rise of low-code and no-code stems from the challenge of developer shortages and rising demand. Companies are required to push forward with digital transformation, or DX, and build a great many web and mobile applications, plus internal services, yet there's a critical lack of developer personnel to back this up. In South Korea, for instance, as of 2021, there was a shortage of about 6,160 software developers, a shortfall of 4%, which has widened compared to 10 years ago. 75% of small businesses reported difficulties in hiring and retaining developers. In this kind of situation, it's only natural that low-code and no-code have gained attention as valuable alternatives to produce more software with fewer people. Furthermore, there have traditionally been communication issues between developers and collaborating departments. If some domain experts can implement certain necessary features themselves, there is an expectation that understanding requirements will become smoother and the business relevance of the outcomes will increase. Reflecting this trend, the global low-code and no-code market has been experiencing significant double-digit growth over the past several years. According to Gartner, the global low-code and no-code software market size was about $269 billion in 2023, and it is expected to reach $319 billion in 2024, a 19% increase from the previous year. Furthermore, Gartner has predicted that by the year 2024, a significant 65% of all new application development will be accomplished using low-code methodologies, which clearly indicates that more than half of enterprise software development will be dependent upon visual development tools or automated code generation rather than traditional coding practices. This particular trend is actually already becoming a reality in the field right now. For example, Microsoft's Power Platform saw 48 million monthly active users in 2024, which is a significant 40% increase over the previous year. This shows that in hundreds of thousands of organizations worldwide, non-developer employees are creating business apps using tools like Power Apps, much like they would use Excel or PowerPoint. Pure no-code web app creation tools like Bubble are also gaining popularity, with reports indicating that over 2 million users have created more than 3 million apps using the Bubble platform alone. In South Korea, banks and public institutions are increasingly adopting no-code tools to streamline their business processes. Especially with major IT companies actively participating, this market is on a strong growth trajectory. Interestingly, the primary demand for low-code and no-code platforms is actually coming from professional developers. Initially, the vision of no-code was highlighted as enabling non-developers to easily create applications. However, in practice, over 90% of the market consists of skilled developers using low-code tools to quickly build business applications. On the other hand, while it remains somewhat limited for non-developers to construct entire applications, the growing availability of no-code tools equipped with AI assistance is progressively simplifying this process. Of course, low-code and no-code also have their limitations and challenges. It's difficult to meet complex and sophisticated requirements solely with low-code, so traditional development is still necessary for large-scale transaction processing or high-level algorithm demands. Also, despite rapid spread, usage by non-developers is slow, so fostering a culture and providing support for employees to learn and use these tools remains a challenge. Nevertheless, Microsoft Power Platform currently leads the enterprise low-code market with Power Apps and Power Automate, surpassing 48 million monthly active users worldwide. It is effectively mainstreaming citizen development and actively incorporating AI, such as by adding natural language app creation features with the recent Copilot integration. Moreover, Retool, a low-code startup launched in Silicon Valley in 2017, offers a platform specialized in creating internal business tools. It allows visual configuration of complex database integrations and API calls, enabling thousands of companies from Fortune 10 enterprises to startups to build their own dashboards and CRMs with Retool. Additionally, Bubble, a leading platform for creating no-code web apps, allows users to design and launch websites or mobile applications without any programming whatsoever. It has successfully cultivated a vibrant community of millions of users across the globe and is extensively utilized by numerous startups for the purpose of building initial minimum viable products or for efficiently carrying out various side projects. OutSystems, a low-code pioneer since 2001, is a mature platform for complex core systems in large companies. It supports Java and .NET extensions, multi-cloud deployments, and is a key financial sector solution due to its scalability and performance. Furthermore, big tech no-code solutions such as Google's AppSheet and Salesforce's Lightning platform, along with specialized tools like Mendix, Wix, and Webflow, are enriching the overall ecosystem, making this market quite dynamic. The spread of AI coding assistants and low-code or no-code platforms is changing the way developers work and redefining their roles. In the short term, the most noticeable changes are improved development productivity and process shifts. By using AI coding tools and low-code platforms, repetitive and standard coding tasks are automated, allowing developers to focus more on high-value tasks. Additionally, as implementation speeds up, the prototyping cycle is drastically shortened. Things that previously took days to code and test ideas can now be accomplished in just a few hours of conversation, which speeds up the development feedback cycle and allows for faster creation of superior products. The method developers use to work is also transforming into more collaborative arrangements. In the past, developers manually typed code, but now, collaborative coding with AI, where developers and AI refine code together through conversation, is on the rise. It's quite similar to how a senior developer might pair program with a junior developer, you see. Meanwhile, the use of low-code tools is also enhancing collaboration with non-developer departments. Business staff can create a draft with no code, which developers then refine, or developers quickly build a prototype with low code for business staff to test and give feedback, leading to more flexible collaboration between developers and non-developers. However, this also introduces new limitations. There are issues with the time it takes to verify and correct code recommendations, and the reliability of the model can be a concern as it sometimes suggests inaccurate or insecure code. There's also a concern that as we rely more on AI assistance, developers might neglect their foundational implementation skills. So far, most opinions suggest that the productivity gains outweigh the risks. Since AI-generated code still needs human oversight, testing, code verification, and maintenance skills are even more critical for developers in the short term. As AI coding capabilities improve and low-code tools become more advanced, the current typing-focused development is expected to shift towards design and management-focused development. This does not mean that developers will become completely obsolete, but instead it signifies that their roles are shifting to a much higher level. On the positive side, this could actually lead to greater accessibility in software development, allowing more individuals to participate and resulting in a wider variety of software applications. With AI assistants and no-code tools, even non-experts can try to implement their ideas, leading to increased diversity in the products and services available in the market. One prediction is the rise of developers who are domain experts. People with specific industry or field knowledge can learn low-code and AI coding to create solutions for their specialized areas, directly addressing and calculating their unique problems. This development could potentially blur the traditional boundaries between software engineers and domain experts, possibly giving rise to new positions such as civic developers, leaders, and even on-the-job development coaches. However, even when AI writes the actual code, determining which features to build and how to structure them to achieve optimal outcomes remains a human task. Also, the ability to reverse engineer AI-generated results to gain insights becomes crucial. So, in the long run, the role of a developer is expected to diversify into a broader spectrum than it is now. As technology evolves rapidly, developers and aspiring developers might feel some anxiety, but it is also true that they are facing new growth opportunities with these new tools. First and foremost, it's essential to adopt a learning attitude that embraces new tools rather than rejecting them. It's being suggested that it's important to accept AI coding assistants and low-code platforms as your productivity partners. However, experts say that even when these tools are available, understanding the fundamental principles of software development is still very important. In fact, to verify AI-generated code, you need a solid understanding of data structures, algorithms, and computer architecture. So, aspiring developers still need to grasp programming basics and computer science, and current developers must reinforce their fundamentals. A strategy is also being mentioned that focuses on unique human capabilities, those strengths that are truly difficult for AI to replace. For example, creativity, problem definition skills, empathy, and communication abilities are key areas. Developers must shift from simply coding assigned tasks to proactively identifying problems and proposing effective solutions. Especially those individuals who possess the capability to design complex systems where multiple modules, services, and AI components interact effectively will become considerably more valuable. Finally, as we've previously foreseen, new job titles such as prompt engineers, low-code specialists, and AI operators could emerge or become quite prominent in the future. Additionally, they might only appear for a short time and then disappear. With trends such as AI vibe coding, no-code, and low-code, there will likely be short-term transitional confusion, and long-term changes in the job landscape are certainly unavoidable. However, developers who proactively adopt these tools and continue to evolve their skill sets will undoubtedly remain valuable in any environment. Another very important thing to keep in mind is that these current changes are just a single phase within the much longer-term evolution process of the software industry. In the past, there have been paradigm shifts, from assembly language to high-level languages, from command-line interface to graphical user interface, and each time, developers adopted new tools and advanced to higher-level tasks, and this time, it's essentially no different. For developers who actively respond to this era of change and redefine their own value, there will be more abundant opportunities than ever before, and by leveraging the progress of technology and turning these threats into opportunities, future developers will be reborn into more creative and influential roles than they are now. This is the message we convey as we stay up all night debugging and striving for better development. This has been Andel Engineering Era, extending our sincere and heartfelt encouragement to the countless developers worldwide who are working diligently through the night.